is Lisa Hugesteger, and I work with Healthy Campus Initiatives.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Greer. I'm the Sexual Violence Prevention Coordinator.
And I'm Rebecca Mattia. I'm a graduate student here, and I also work with OSU Smoke-Free Policy.
Yeah. My name is Diana Govier. I'm a graduate student here also in public health, and I'm the Graduate Student Council representative.
So you'll hear a little bit more from the group about their experiences to date in working with peer health and wellness. Overall, what we want to make sure that we talk to you about today is a brief description of what we're talking about with this new Peer Health and Wellness Institute, some benefits of peer education programs nationally, why we think the Student Experience Center is an ideal location for this Peer Health and Wellness Institute. We want to talk about the vision and values and how that connects with the Student Experience Center vision and values that you've shared with us. We'll answer your specific questions about funding, about space allocation, about the floor plan, and then wrap up and make sure that we have time for your questions.
All right, so the basics of the Peer Health and Wellness Institute. So it will be a student-centered nexus for peer wellness leaders and mentors. We'll focus on programs, experiential learning with a collaborative enhancement of services, outreach, and programs and engagement. We'll focus on holistic student success by the integration of physical health, mental health, and social well-being. Some key components of individual and community health are social justice, sustainability, and a proactive, lifelong perspective on learning. And as a graduate student council representative, we have people coming to us pretty often, and their concerns aren't necessarily about their classroom and their studies. It's usually a lot of times it's about health and how do they maintain their health. And I think having a co-located space here in the Student Experience Center will really help facilitate helping graduate students and other students reach their maximum health.
And then I'm just going to give some research on peer health education and how it makes a difference in the benefits for peer educators and students as well. So peer health education, peers are often more successful in delivering especially health and wellness related information because people identify with their peers and they listen to their peers, they feel they connect with their peers. They also can reach people that are a little bit harder to reach with conventional methods, and also they reinforce learning through ongoing contact because they're always with their peers. But we also wanted to highlight that peer education is effective and high impact when there is a clear strategy and direction, and we're going to go more into how our institute goes through these approaches. So benefits where peer educators help students. They help them to transition to college and be successful in their program of study, as well to become involved on campus. And they help them with their academic, but also their personal needs, so relating to their health needs as well. And they help them learn important academic and life skills. But there's also benefits being a peer educator as well, like gaining leadership skills, being able to support students, also reapplying concepts to their own lives and developing connections throughout campus. I'm also a GTA here with HHS, and I can say we have peer mentoring, which is very similar to peer educators. And it's been successful having someone to go to and ask questions about even TA, but it'd be even more beneficial to have people to go to about health-related resources on campus.
So we're proposing that the Student Experience Center offers the ideal location for us to initiate this institute on campus. The focus of this program is going to be rooted in a student-centered approach to handling topics related to health and well-being. This space is perfect for that because it is student-centered. It's a common space for students to come. It's easily accessible for students with the building hours being expanded past 5 p.m. And it's also connected to other student groups. The goal of this institute is for it to be a collaborative effort across the division, across departments. We don't want it to be housed within one specific entity on campus. And so this would gain access for students to inform their student experience by working with folks outside of Student Health Services, outside of CAPS, outside of Dixon. It would allow them to reach communities such as sorority and fraternity life, ASOSU, MUPC, and some of those other student-run organizations that are so important to a student's experience and time here on campus. One of the examples of a current collaboration that we have been working on for the past few years on OSU's campus is Take Back the Night. It's historically an event that is student-run. It's a grassroots activist event that occurs on many college campuses. And one of the barriers that we have realized when it comes to organizing an event such as this is that we don't have that student-centered collaborative space to encourage students to get involved and to take part. So for this year's event in particular, it was run by myself, and I was able to have a couple student volunteers assist. And that's not the goal for these programs. The goal is for it to come from students to allow them the space to develop these programs for themselves. And so this space over in the SEC up here would be a perfect opportunity to allow students from all walks of life on campus get involved with this. It would provide that common space for them to continue the work, not just on this event, but on other events that we want to bring forth as well. So to further the vision for the Peer Health and Wellness Institute, there's a few things that are going to be key to the implementation of this institute. So we want to be able to provide direct health and wellness resources and information for students. We want to be a place for them to access whenever they need during that time period to get resources regarding how to maintain a healthy lifestyle on the college campus. What resources are available to them that don't necessarily have to be student health services or CAPS related. So what are some of those other things that they can access? This is going to be informed by training and experiential learning opportunities. So rather than just putting forth information and having students access it, we're going to be recruiting student leaders to be peer mentors regarding health and wellness. So that brings in that piece of providing that peer-to-peer facilitation that is so important on a college campus and, as research indicates, highly effective. And so we would be providing an academic class to teach students the importance of being a peer mentor, not just in that role, but in every aspect of their life across campus. And then we would be including topic areas related to nutrition, physical activity, mental well-being, sexual violence prevention, sexual health, and a whole host of other topics for students to focus their learning on.
Our vision also includes a collaborative program and engagement, so to continue to work in a strategic and aligned manner and support other student programming, as well to provide a unique partnership that infuses a healthy message and activities with other programs, and to also provide a small group meeting space designated for established groups. So for example, like one of our collaborative efforts so far, and what would be really helpful with the meeting space and having resources as well, is with Smoke Free, we do cleanup events on campus every term, and we collaborate with ASOSU, the Greek Life as well, civil engagement, sustainability initiative as well. And so just having one place to actually plan these events and maybe even go bigger, getting more students involved from different parts of campus instead of the ones that are always active on campus, and really outreaching to other students.
Back to me, time check. How are we doing? Let's see, okay, great. This begins to address the specific questions that were put out, and so we hope you have some understanding of what do we mean when we say the Peer Health and Wellness Institute. It's not just a resource center, it's not just an educational program, it's not just peer mentoring. It's all of those pieces with a strategic plan to increase the health and wellness of all students at OSU and the interconnections that are there. We want to enhance the accessibility and quality of students' engagement with diversity as well. So, like health, I'm going to link to diversity in the sense that it's multidimensional and that it means different things to different people. And so how do we engage in that and give people different experiences so they can deepen their understanding and deepen their connections with others? The Health and Equity Symposium that was held this spring is another sort of example of trying to identify and making sure that we're reaching out to all groups that are on campus. So the Peer Health and Wellness Institute will be comprised of a diverse group of students whose voices will lend a hand in shaping an educational curriculum that is inclusive of all identities and that inform student perspective. So this goes along with social justice, it goes along with civic engagement, it goes along with other principles that OSU has and ASOSU in particular. How will this program be innovative? Well, in particular because it's a new way of coming together rather than being center specific of this program's here and this program's there. We know when students come to campus, they're just looking for, how do I do this health and wellness thing? Or what are the factors that contribute to my success as a student? And we're able to ground it in research of more sleep and better nutrition and being active, reduces your stress, allows you to focus, and then be able to also refer students to some specific resources on campus. We also know that health is an obstacle to student persistence. And when there's a dropout, when students withdraw from campus, we learn that part of the reason, one of the top 3 reasons why they withdraw is because of health issues. And it might be their own health issues, or it might be a family health issues, or it might be a relationship issue, which you may not think of as health, but health and well-being is both at a personal level and at an interpersonal level. Which button am I pushing?
Just there. Yeah.
Just to make sure. The career and professional advancement, so this isn't just for those who are in a health-related field, though that's possible, but what we know is that if you think across the lifespan, what's important for students in particular at the place of starting their college career, what's important in graduating, what do you need to know when you graduate, when you're looking for a job, what's the health literacy, what are the places that you need to be a good consumer in learning about what you're going to get in your health insurance. We also believe in this idea of knowledge acquisition, exploration, and application, so that once you've gotten an idea and something that you're passionate about, and Take Back the Night is an example. Kelsey's coming in, and we went from, what were the student numbers from last year to this year?
So last year we had about 20 individuals who attended Take Back the Night, and this year we had numbers around 700 to 800 students who attended the event.
Okay, so just an example of working together, we're much stronger, and that's what we want to do with the Peer Health and Wellness Institute. So the hallmark of the Institute will be a focus on student-centered experiences of health and well-being at OSU, and for example, working with the residential life and residential communities. One idea that we had is how do we also then work with the Extension Office and do things statewide. So when students go home, what health and wellness messages they're giving? Could we give them, it's just a random idea, could we give them a recipe that they could take home, that they could try something new and integrate that into their cultural events and activities and holidays. So it's really about a learning focus. Other specific questions related to location and funding resources. We don't have a central space right now. We have disparate spaces. Currently, the Peer Health Advocate Program that Kelsey referred to is in Student Health Services, and there's other places where mentoring occurs. We want to expand the scope and participation. The Health and Wellness Alignment, which is known as Student Health Services, Recreational Sports, Counseling, and also the Healthy Campus Initiative, those are already working together, and then working with the school or the College of Public Health and Human Science would be a part of it. So funding resources, the initial startup would come from Student Health Services and the Student Health Fee, and we would be in conversation with the Health and Wellness Alignment about what are other services that could be there from counseling, from recreational sports, from the Nutrition and Dietetics Club, what are other places and how would that contribute. But the funding would come specifically from Student Health and that student fee that's already paid in and has a piece of the different people that you see here at the table. So how to directly utilize the space, and we had some pictures that we didn't include because you can walk right over there and see the space for yourself, right? And you can walk downstairs and see the International Resource Center, which has a great example of coming into a welcoming environment, lounge area, work area, some cubicles that are set up, reception desk. So one office would be a shared professional faculty space, especially initially as we get started. We feel like that's important to ground that. The other 2 offices would be used for peer leaders and a space for one-on-one mentoring, peer coaching, peer education, whatever you want to call that. The open space would be arranged for program areas, different program areas to meet, a common meeting area, a priority on space for student engagement and leadership. As I said, a welcoming reception area and some workstations. So it looks like this. And I know that it's a little bit small, but as you walk in to the window area, you have a reception area and a resource area. If you've seen this in other places, and whether it's at a health center or an experiential center, there might be a video screen, there might be something that's set up for a DVD for people to watch in headphones, there might be some pamphlets. There's also just a welcoming lounge and magazines that people can read on their own, or maybe there's an app that they can try out. There'll be an opportunity to come in and have, these are like some workstations here, the offices, and then a large table in the back for groups to schedule meeting time. checking my time, it looks like about 15 seconds, which is perfect because we're in wrap up. So, a student-centered collaborative space with easy access for diverse student-centered groups, a focus on experiential learning, to be innovative in student engagement and facilitating student success, grounded in evidence-based peer education approaches, professional level guidance because that's what's shown you need in a strategic plan to be successful, and the idea of a scope of holistic health and well-being, and integrated delivery of health and well-being resources for all students. We're done.
So questions?
Yeah, what would you see the operational hours in the new space?
Yeah, in our early discussion about that, we wanted to be open later so that there's more student access after 5. So whether that's a 10 to 7, a 10 to 8, we're not sure, but open past the 5 o'clock time that's there.
Would you see transitioning like the peer health advocate program, like those persons who are already engaged with that over at the playground? I assume this would be their new home.
So it wouldn't necessarily just be the space for the advocates. I see it being a space that they can utilize as well. But they have strong ties to student health services. So the idea would be to use that as a base model for this Peer Health and Wellness Institute, and to expand that to others. And so the advocates will most definitely be utilizing the space and collaborating with those other student groups that we intend and hope to create relationships with, but it won't be their permanent home.
And following up on that, I don't want to speak for Active Minds or fitness instructors or other groups like that, but this would be a potential meeting space and an opportunity to come together when we're doing collaborative projects. Most of those groups still have a home. You know, the home for Active Minds is within counseling. That's where they get their advising. That's where they're connected to the other services. So that's like their home base, but this is a satellite version for them to be able to come together. Yes?
Okay, so does the Peer Health and Wellness Institute exist right now, or would it exist with getting the space?
It would become more real when there's a space for it.
Okay.
How old is the organization again? Like a year?
The Peer Health and Wellness Institute is not there.
Okay. All right.
So there's a lot of different changes that are going on. There's a new director of counseling that's coming. We have a new health services director that's been here a year and a half. We have a new recreational sports director. The Health and Wellness Alignment is taking on new projects. We have a new vice provost for student affairs. We're getting a new dean of students. So within all of that, there's some, what are we calling these different things and how are they working together? And so there's some level of specificity we need to really, we're starting to work on, and when all those people are here full time. The new director for student leadership and involvement. Starts Monday, okay, so there's another connection point. The new director for the Center for Fraternity and, no, it's Fraternity and Sorority Life. Other places. Is
So
that?
it's like a coalition of health organizations, and this is to sort of help students to direct them and get them in place.
To give it a name and a place.
We've hit a point where we're revitalizing a lot of our efforts across campus. So specifically with the prevention side of things, because I can speak to that, we are undergoing a lot of changes. And so we see this institute as being a great way of propelling those and kind of fast tracking the efforts that we're doing. So this would create that space that we can really get in on that ground level and start doing the work and seeing it implemented in a more time efficient manner than what would happen if we were all working at our distinct locations on campus.
So just to clarify, because there was a lot of things said there, but so is this centralizing programs that are already in existence into one space with a new name, or is it creating a new program?
The Peer Health and Wellness Institute would have a new identified peer health mentoring program. So what the peer health advocates are doing right now has involved, and I don't want to speak to all of it, has involved a lot of volunteers in some different areas. One of the keystones of this, cornerstones of this, would be to have a curriculum that engages in general health and wellness information. And then from that, so we might have 100 students who are trained in the general information, and then hand them off to the specifics. So whether they're working in a counseling environment or with sexual violence prevention, they then go work in those other groups to identify the specifics and the learning outcomes. When we're working on it broadly, it would be here. So it would be a new group in that sense that would build on the strengths of those other groups to come together. That's why the strategic plan is important too. What do we do together? What do we do on our own?
So the one isolated office in Snell, would that be coming here as well?
So that's the Healthy Campus office, my office, that is moving to report to Student Health Services as of July 1. I understand the physical space will stay there because there isn't other physical space at the moment. If we built a Center for Integrated Wellbeing on campus somewhere else we talk about with Dixon or with the Student Health Center, that office could move. So my lone office and with the students who I work with will stay there for the time being.
So would you come and join?
No, but one of them might, both of them might, other students might.
Okay.
So we heard a proposal from CAPS about a sort of a mental health promotion program counselor. If your program was growing up space, would that, it seems like there's some similar synergy there. Would that possibly incorporate some pieces of theirs, or is there a partnership there?
That's the intention, and Marcy's here, and we've had discussions before we got here today, also of, we're not sure exactly what we would integrate from that, but we would want to be welcoming for the Active Minds group, and the idea, the concept of flourishing, of well-being we share, mental well-being, physical well-being, social well-being.
We're going to close the questions off at this point. We've gotten to our time, so thank you very much for your presentations. So just